What's up, guys? In this video, I'm going over 5 things or ideas I wish I knew when I was a teenager. So stick around to hear what those ideas are and how you can start implementing them into your life. Welcome to Untapped Potential, everyone. I'm Dave, and my mission with this channel is to help you tap more and more into your potential. So this is for you teenagers or for you younger folk. I'm 26, so I don't know why I'm saying it like that as if I'm not young. But for those of you who are maybe in your early 20s or in your teenage years, I want to go over 5 things or 5 ideas, some of them practices, that I wish I had known in my teenage years because it would have helped me grow even faster to where I would have been in a totally different place now than I actually am. So the first thing is a practice, and it's meditation. And this has become one of the most important practices in my life. It has helped me in so many different ways, and it's something I always recommend to anyone who asks about what can help them in most areas of life. You know, being able to meditate, even if it's just for a few minutes a day, can have a huge impact on your life. And it's something I wish I had started as, a teenager. There's so many benefits to meditation. I'm not going to list them all out here because they're readily available with a quick Google search. But ever since meditating consistently, I have to say my life has changed in many, many ways. Whether it's I've been exposed to new ideas, I've developed new perspectives through meditation, I've learned more about myself, I've realized what's important and what's not. So much has come out of meditation that I really wish I'd started doing it earlier. I'm glad that I do it now, but if I could go back and talk to my 13 or 14-year-old self, I would definitely tell him to start meditating consistently, even if it was for just a few minutes a day at that age. So the second thing is an idea, and it's the idea of not needing to have every single thing figured out by the time you're out of college or by the time you're like in your 20s. There seems to be this idea that, as someone going into college or once you're out of high school, that you need to know exactly what you're going to do for a profession. You need to know how you want to live your life, and it's just not true. And I was sold this old paradigm as well, this old belief system when I was younger by people around me, peers, school, that told me, you need to have everything figured out by the time you're out of college at the latest. And it's just not true. I spent a little longer figuring out what I want to do, and I'm still figuring it out now. Life is spontaneous. Things are always changing. There's no way you're going to know at 20 years old what you want to do for the next 50 years, because 10 years into it, you could change your mind, or you could have a new interest, or you could want to pursue something else. And so this is something I would reassure my younger self about and tell him you don't need to have it all figured out. In fact, be curious, try new things, discover new ideas, explore new things, because when you get into the idea that you have to have it figured out right away, you start becoming very, very rigid. So I think this is a big one for a lot of people because they think if they don't have it figured out yet, that for some reason that's a bad thing. No, in fact, that's a much better thing than thinking you already have it figured out because you've been pushed into having to figure it out. If you instead admit to yourself, I don't have everything figured out, I don't know some things, I don't know exactly what I want to do, and I love that, then maybe some ideas will come in. Maybe you'll start getting some intuitive thoughts about things you want to try. Maybe then you'll start pursuing new ideas because they interest you. You don't need to have everything figured out. Life isn't always about figuring out things. Life can be about chasing your curiosity. I don't like the word chasing, but going after your curiosity. It can be about trying new things and finding what resonates with you. So if you don't have things figured out, great. Have fun pursuing new things and trying new things while you figure out what it is you want to do. And if you do have things figured out, that's great as well. But make sure you're not being pushed into something or, deliberately trying to pursue something because you've been told you should, because that's just going to lead to a life of, misery in my eyes. So give yourself time, give yourself the option to try new things, and let it naturally happen instead of trying to force it. Third idea is another big one, and it's I don't need to be anyone else except myself. Something I really believed as a teenager is I had to fit into this box. I had to be a part of this crowd or this group, or I need to do this thing to fit in. You do not need to do that. You definitely want to develop yourself, but you don't need to develop yourself into this person or that person. You should be developing yourself into more of yourself, into a person who can be more themselves in every single moment. You are perfect. That's not an invitation to not do anything, not improve yourself, and not take action. But what it's saying is there is no right or wrong answer here. There is no you need to be this person or that person. You can decide for yourself, what do I want to be? Who do I want to be without this outside influence coming in? If you want to be someone who's this way, then start moving in that direction. If you want to be someone who's this way, start moving in that direction. But make sure it's something that's coming from within you and not something from outside of you. And this is a lesson I still am learning today, that I'm still moving towards, that I'm still trying to become more and more myself without the influence of other people. And there's nothing wrong with taking ideas from the outside, from certain specific people that you really look up to, and applying that to your own life because it feels good. But never think you have to fit into a certain box, or you have to fit a certain label or description, because ultimately that's not going to fulfill you. What will is moving more into yourself and what you truly want to be and what you truly are. And the more you can do that at a younger age, I think if people start doing this as a teenager or even younger, then by the time they are 18 or 19 or 20, they're going to have experienced so much more and be so much more balanced by that time. The fourth idea is I am co-creative. Now, what does that mean? To me, it means you are responsible for your own reality. As I got older, and even as I was growing up, I started getting drawn into the paradigm of complaining, of blaming things outside of myself. And I did it a lot because I saw adults around me doing it. I saw teachers doing it. I saw people in, supposed authoritative positions complaining and moaning and, saying that it's unfair, this happens and that happens. But one of the things I wish I could have taught my teenage self is that you are a co-creator. You create your reality with the universe, with oneness, with connectivity, with God, whatever you want to call it, and you are responsible for your side of the co-creative process. And when you start taking responsibility for your life, you start moving more into the things that you want. You start becoming more of what you want instead of complaining and moaning and giving off your power to things outside of yourself. If you're complaining about politics all the time, you're giving your power to that thing. If you complain about this person screwing you over and you're not successful because of this person, you're giving that power to them. But if you go in within yourself and say, you know what, my success is up to me, my happiness is up to me, you suddenly take back that power and you start creating your own reality from what you want it to actually be. Start taking responsibility for your reality. Don't push it on someone else. Don't blame someone else. Don't say it's because of this person that I'm not where I want to be. I've met many people like that. I've been in that myself, and it's not a fun result. It's not good when you see someone who's lived their whole life like that, and it's not something that's truly desirable. So start thinking now, what do I want to create? How do I want my life to look? And start understanding that it's up to you to make that happen. Sure, you can collaborate. Sure, there will be people that help you along the way, but don't listen to people who say life has to be this way or you have to do it this way or whatever. Start listening more to that inner voice and not giving your power to things outside of you. You can bring things in that you select to bring in, but don't allow all the noise to distract you from the fact that you are co-creative and you can create your own reality and that you should take responsibility for your own life. Final thing I would tell my teenage self, my younger self, is to prioritize what's truly important to you in your life. Yes, even as a teenager. Now, again, you may not know what that is. And again, you can go back to the advice where I said, be curious, figure things out. You don't have to have things figured out. So be curious and start doing things so you can discover what your priorities are. But I knew what mine were a lot of the time when I was younger. And what I would have told my teenage self is to focus on those things. To bring more of the things you love into your life and to spend more time in your heart, in your passion, in your creativity, in the things that you love. To spend the majority of your day in your heart, in your passion, and to live from that place instead of giving, again, power to all these things that honestly, when I look back, were not even a little bit important. So prioritize your passions, prioritize what you love. Even if you're in school, find time after school, before school, whenever, to make sure you're doing these things. I don't know what it is for you. You could love photography and know that you love it. Start practicing that. Start doing that. You might like poetry. You might like painting, art, a certain sport, whatever it is. Start bringing more of that into your life, even at that young age. There's no right time to start. You could be 8 years old watching this and have something you love to do, start bringing that more into your life. You could know you want to try this one thing, go try that thing. You could say, you know what, I've always wanted to pursue this or take up an instrument or sing more or whatever it is. Start bringing more of that into your day, and that is definitely something I would tell my younger self to do, because sometimes I would think something was important that really wasn't, and it was at the expense of something I actually did love and wanted to do. All right, guys, so those are 5 things, 5 ideas I would tell my teenage self to do, or if I could go back and tell a younger version of myself, I would tell them to, I give this advice to my teenage self. There are many other things I would tell my teenage self. What would you tell the teenage version of yourself if you're already past the teenage years or you're older? What would you tell your teenage self if you had the option to go back and tell them something, so that not only, so that you can inspire the other teenagers or people who are at that stage in the comments below. So let me know down below and I'll answer some of those as well. Please make sure you like this video and subscribe. I will put 2 other videos up on the screen so you can continue to tap into your potential more and more. Love you guys, and I will see you in the next video.